Hey everybody, how y'all doing? Rorree here. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about forgiveness. Okay, we're doing our little forgiveness cards. And so what I do with these cards is I talk about what the card is talking about, and then I have you repeat after me. So we kind of like have a little conversation with spirit about whatever the card is talking about. Okay. So I shuffled and this card fell out. And here we go. But first, please like, subscribe. And if you like if you're listening to me, just hit the like button. Okay. Um, because that's how we get to be here and stay here, and there's so much censorship going on and everything. So, and if you feel like the content that I share would benefit anybody, share it with them, share it on wherever you are on your different social media platforms if you think that it would benefit somebody else anyway, and that would help me out. So thank you. All right, so I forgive myself for being ashamed of the ways in which I have shown up and behaved in the past. Okay, so I am sure all of us could say that. Okay, um, because we none of us are perfect, and we're all here on a journey of exploration and learning. And there's just not always a rule book. And sometimes we're going through things and we might say things in a way that is just not cool and come off in a way that just is not appropriate. And we might just have to say, my apologies. I didn't really, it wasn't my intention to come off like that or what have you. Or if it was your intention, then that's just something you need to work on. Um, so, and I think being ashamed of how you did something in the past, I don't feel like we should judge ourselves that harshly because we are human beings. And everything is like a trial. Like we're trying to figure this whole thing out, that this journey that we're on, we're trying to figure this out. And one thing that I always say is that yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. And for what happened yesterday, let's just reflect upon it and learn from it. Let's not beat ourselves up over what happened yesterday. Let's learn from those things and grow and work on it. Sometimes you may encounter somebody who behaves how you behave, and they're a mirror to you, and it bothers you so much, and then you realize, damn, I act like that too. you know don't be ashamed of that. Just work on it. Work on improving yourself. To me, it's all about working on self, improving self, doing what you have to do to become the best you could possibly be. And I mean, we didn't come out being perfect beings. We came here to learn and grow. So give yourselves the opportunity to do that. Give yourselves the opportunity to learn and grow to the next levels, and then continue learning and growing. This is all about continuously learning and growing. So I forgive myself for being ashamed of the ways in which I have shown up. There was this gentleman back when I lived in Sacramento, and he used to teach his daughters to go to school and represent. He would tell them, he taught them how to represent the household, and he told them how he wanted them to show up like I forget what the last name was, but he wanted his daughters to go to school and represent. And I feel like right now all we can do is learn from our past and show up how we desire to show up. So that means that we can't always be reacting to everything around us. Sometimes you just have to be still and be quiet for a second so that you can respond to a situation. I know I tell people, especially people in relationships, like, before you respond, count to 10. Think about that. Think about it before you respond. so that you don't say something that you wish you didn't say, you know? So let's see, I forgive myself for being ashamed of the ways that I have shown up and behaved in the past. I remember, because I'm a Gemini, and we are known to have like we have a mouth. we can we can really like come back, and sometimes the tongue is a little tactless, and especially with the male Geminis, oh my stars, their tongues are really like, woo, like they open their mouths and just speak their truth without tact. And I know that's something I had to learn. I had to learn how to use more tact. And I had to learn that sometimes the way I came off, my tone or my expressions or the words were piercing to others. And I had to learn to work on that. I did. And so whether it be a Gemini thing or just a me thing, a Rorree thing, I had to work on that. And I remember when it was brought to my attention, it was by this young lady, and she said, I was coaching at the time, and I was in a small workshop. I was leading a small workshop of people. And one of the young ladies in the workshop, she worked very closely with me, and I coached her a lot. And I was doing a lot at the time. So, and none of this is an excuse, okay? So I was doing a lot at the time. I had a number of businesses that I was running at the same time. I was a mortgage broker. I had a mortgage firm. I had several loan officers underneath within my firm. I had loan processors, so I had a whole firm to manage. I also, I was in real estate and land development, and I educated, I taught, I did workshops and boot camps, I taught meditation, I taught business development skills, I taught, I was in network marketing, so I taught people how to do network marketing and how to be successful in network marketing. So I was doing a number of things. So I had a lot going on at the time. And so my temperament or my I was like this. My comebacks were like this. Everything I said was like this. My ability to analyze and assess was like this. Everything was, so that's how I talked. You said this, I said this. You said this, I said this. And it was like, and it wasn't to be rude or flippant or anything. It was just, that's how my brain was working, because I was running so many companies at the same time. And the work that I did, like my business partner and I were in the same office space. It was a long kind of office space, and he'd be over there and I was over here. We both had our desks, and he'd be in a meeting over there. I could be in a meeting over here. I could be doing my work. I could be analyzing, doing everything. But at any given moment, he'd be like, Miss Tillman, da 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 da, and he'd ask me a question, and I had to answer, So I learned how to be over there and over here at the same time. I don't do that anymore. All that multitasking and stuff, I don't do that anymore. But I say all this to say, I was splintered, okay? I had so much going on. I was splintered, And so I didn't have a whole lot of patience or a whole lot of tact to give. But I didn't realize that I was showing up like that, all right? Until this young lady said, Rorree, I'm gonna be honest, you are rude as fucks. That's what she said. And I said, damn, okay. And then she said, I am so sick and tired of you making my friend cry. Because apparently I had said something in this group meeting that I was leading and got roughed off. So I said something to upset, to ruffle the feathers of the other young lady in the group, one of the people in the group. And I guess maybe she was holding back tears or something. And so I was like, okay. And I asked her, okay, tell me more. Go ahead. And so she shared with me how she felt. And then I said, thank you. And then I talked to the young lady. I apologize. Definitely wasn't my intention to make her cry. And I told the whole group, I'm gonna work on that. Because I didn't like that I was showing up like this rude bitch. And I was making people cry. Definitely wasn't my intent. It was my intent for everybody to be successful. It was my intent to teach them, to help them to grow and to help them to achieve their goals. They all had their goals, and I wanted to help them have what it was that they wanted. And in me wanting that so badly, and I pushed. I don't accept mediocre. You know, that was one of the things I taught. We don't live on mediocre boulevard over here, you know. So, you know, I pushed and I pushed hard. And sometimes it wasn't received well. So I had to work on that because that wasn't my intention. And to me, I'm not going to get the results that I desire to have for you if I'm stepping all over your feelings. I don't want that. That's not what I want. So I had to check myself after she told me I was a rude ass bitch. Okay. You rude as fuck. That's what she said. So I worked on that. So now when I see people that are like little me, I'll be like, oh Lord, woo, this person don't know how rude they are. I could see, I remember I used to be just like that. So am I ashamed of it though? No, it just was what it was. Okay. For all of the reasons, which are not excuses, I was showing up like that. So when it was brought to my attention that I was showing up like that, I fixed that because as a leader, that's not how I chose to show up. I didn't want to show up like that. So I had to fix myself. So, you know, I remember somebody asked me recently, was I open to constructive feedback? And I'm like, yeah, you know, because how else do you grow unless you are open to constructive feedback? Now, I can also say, just because you give me constructive feedback don't mean that I'm gonna take it like, okay, you know, if I don't agree, like we might have to discuss that so that I can understand where you're coming from, you know, if I don't agree. And if I get what you're saying, then I am definitely going to work on that. And sometimes if I don't get what you're saying, let's keep at it until I get it. You know what I mean? And I tell people, are you scared of a little, you know, back and forth? Let's do that. Let's do a little back and forth so we can get to a happy medium. Because if we shut down because we're not hearing each other, then we haven't accomplished anything. So I was like, let's keep working things out until we get it, or we just agree to disagree and keep it moving. But we don't have to end it with angst and animosity and all of that just because we're not on the same page. And sometimes things need to be tabled to another time. You know, sometimes emotions could be so high that it's not going to be possible for a good happy medium to, you know, for people to come to a happy medium. But I feel like each person should decide that for themselves. You know, I don't feel like you should shut down on somebody else because you think it's not a good time, especially if they say they're open to receiving. All right. So anyway, I forgive myself for being ashamed of the ways in which I have shown up and behaved in the past. Forgive yourself for that. Forgive yourself for being ashamed of how you've shown up, okay? Because you are a product of your environment. You are a product of everything that you've experienced from the time you were in the womb to before you even selected your parents and decided to incarnate into this existence. You know what I mean? You're a product of your lineage. You're a product of all your ancestors. You're a product of whatever spiritual team is working with you. You know what I mean? You are a product of your soul group. So don't be ashamed of who you are. Just learn. If you don't like how you're showing up, do something about it. And don't be afraid to look at yourself in the mirror. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of being wrong. Don't be afraid of, feedback. Don't be afraid. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to say, my fault. That is kind of foul, how that happened. My fault. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid of that. But definitely don't be ashamed of how you showed up, because you showed up like that for a reason. I remember one time I did a healing on this young girl. She was a young teenager. And she had a few spirits that were working through her. And as they worked through her, they were very violent. And they were violent against one of the parents. And others too, if others got in the way. But, the parents be in the way all the time because that's who you live with, So anyway, before I just said, go, spirits, we don't want you no more, or whatever, we had to ask her, do you want these spirits here? Do you want them to stick around? Because what if they are there for a reason? What if the way she showed up was on purpose? What if she needed those spirits to act crazy through her for something in the future? And then I go stripping her of whatever spirits are with her, and she needed those spirits. So I don't just willy-nilly just be removing spirits from folk, doing exorcisms and stuff. I don't just do that just because, because what if that spirit is there on purpose? Who am I to say it's not? You know what I mean? So you have free will, but should she be ashamed of how she showed up? She was showing up like that because the spirits were with her. And then she made a conscious decision. She said, no, after she got to communicate with the spirits and find out why they were there and find out, what her whole deal was, what her whole connection and relationship and everything was with these three spirits. When she got to understand what was going on, she made a decision that she did not want those three spirits there anymore. So then she got to release them. So I feel like we have to take responsibility for self versus going into shame. Because when we are ashamed of ourselves, that creates dis-ease in the body. Shame and guilt and doubt and stuff like that. There are certain diseases that come with those things. There's a book by Louise Hay called something about the body. I don't know. I have it on my shelf too. I got to find it. I don't know. But one of the books is called Feelings Buried Alive, Never Die. And I think that book came out first. And then Louise Hay's book came out. And it's something about words in the body or something. You can heal your life, heal your body or something like that. I forget. But anyway, so in this book, you could look up different diseases and ailments, and it'll tell you the emotions and stuff that are directly correlated with these diseases in the body. Even diseases that they say aren't curable. Okay? Because I don't believe that. I believe everything is curable. Okay, that's just me. I've seen miracles take place. So, anyway, I don't even know where the hell I was going with that. But feelings buried alive never die. And that shame, there you go. That being ashamed and that shame and guilt and stuff is directly related to some diseases that are horrible diseases. And once you start working on those things, those buried emotions, once you start healing your body of those buried emotions that are turning into physical manifestations that they call diseases. Okay. So once you start healing those things, you can heal what the heck is going on in your life. How about that? And that's what I do. I am a healer, intuitive healer, spiritual healer. That's what I do. That's what I love. Okay. I love doing that. And I love doing this. I love talking to you guys. Okay. So repeat after me. I forgive myself for being ashamed of the ways in which I have shown up and behaved in the past. Let's say it again. I forgive myself for being ashamed of the ways in which I have shown up and behaved in the past. Okay? Forget about the shame and the guilt and all of that, because that doesn't turn into nothing good. Release, learn from it, reflect upon it, write a new statement out that you're going to do for yourself now. You're not going to live in the past. You can't live looking like when you're driving a car, you got the rearview mirror, right? You glance up at the rearview mirror. You see what's going on behind you. You can't drive looking in the rearview mirror, because next thing you know, you're going to run into whatever's in front of you. Life is in front of you. Your journey is in front of you, not behind you in the rearview mirror. So pay attention to what's going on in front of you. You could glance up and see what's going on behind you. Reflect upon it, learn from it, heal from it, and keep it moving. Because if you don't heal from it, it's going to turn into a dis-ease in your body. Okay? Emotional things, feelings buried alive never die. Okay, so the second part of this. I choose to believe that when I accept all aspects of my being, I find greater acceptance of others, creating the possibilities for even deeper connections. Hallelujah. That's so on point. I choose to believe. So this is how you replace the shame and guilt. You replace it with, I choose to believe that when I accept all aspects of my being, accept everything about yourself, the good, the what you think is not so good, the whatever, accept it all as you. It's all you. All of that, all of this is all up in here to be all of you. And you can work on those things. You can work to develop yourself. That's why you're here. Work on it. Develop yourself into the best you that you can possibly be. Not into the best Rorree, because my name is Rorree. And these are my glasses right here. Okay? These are my glasses. If you put my glasses on, you might not be able to see, but you probably could, because my glasses don't have a high strength. But we all wear our own sunglasses. So I'm not going to judge myself based upon you and your stuff. I'm judging myself based upon me, and I'm going to try not to be the judge. I'm just going to work on being the best me I could possibly be. And I do that every day, step by step, situation by situation. If I make a mistake, I can go back and fix it, And if I can't fix it, oh well. Yesterday is history, tomorrow's a mystery, today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. And I ain't gonna be all upset in this moment today, okay? So anyway, I choose to believe that when I accept all aspects of my being, I find greater acceptance in others. Exactly, because we are all connected. We are all interconnected. I know when I first started learning about healing work. I was in California, and I went to an institute in California for 6 years to learn about healing, to learn about all of my gifts, because I didn't understand them, So I was at an institute, in a program, a clairvoyant program and everything. I was in this institute for 6 years, okay? Nonstop, 6 years, going several times a week to class to learn all about healing, all about this wellness. And one of the beginning things that we learned was that we learned how to release like karma. How do you release like karma? So every time I would do a reading, or I would, somebody would come in for a healing, come into the center for a healing, and I do a healing. I had to, as soon as I finished everything, or in the middle of it, I would release like karma. When I would see that something came up that was similar to something in my life, or I felt something similar, then I would release like karma. I would release the likeness. I remember one time I was doing a fair. It was called a psychic fair. We had to do these fairs every month to practice. And I remember when I was walking to the place in Berkeley, the institute where and going around the side where we were going to do the fair, I passed this girl on the street, and she said something to me. I think hi or whatever, and I forget what she asked me. And so then later on in the day, this is a few hours later, she comes in, and I'm like, oh. And out of all of the intuitives in there, they put her at where I was. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. And the way we were taught, we would read in a line. So it would be maybe 3 of us that would read together, and we'd read in a line. So we'd all come up and vibrate together, and we'd all close our eyes, and we'd all read the client, the person, together. And so I remember when she came in, like at this point, I didn't know how to control my empathic abilities. And so like whatever she was feeling, I was feeling. So when I was doing the reading, like I was feeling like, oh my God, I was feeling like this pain in my heart. Like, what the hell's going on? I was feeling everything this poor child was feeling. So she's sitting up there looking all normal, like whatever. And so I remember in the middle of the reading, I was tapping the person next to me who just happened to be the director of the program. I was tapping her because I needed to be able to talk, because I had to release this girl's energy and share what I was feeling and hearing so that it could get off of me, And so I was like, can I please talk? And so I had to unload all of that. And so I was like, so anyway, now, why did I go into that? Karma. Okay. So afterwards, I had to release like karma, because it was on purpose that I saw that girl outside, and it was on purpose that I think we kind of exchanged words. It could have just been, hi, how you doing? And then all of a sudden she's here hours later, and out of everybody in the room, they put her in front of me. And I'm like, that's something else. It wasn't like I was going, hey, come over here, and because they sit you where they feel that you should be. And she was in front at my table. So I had to create and destroy roses for like karma. So you guys, I mean, everybody is interconnected. Everybody is interconnected. Our energies are interconnected. And when you come upon someone, it is on purpose. I feel like everything is on purpose. If you have a disagreement with someone, it was on purpose. I don't know what the purpose was, but it was on purpose for both of you. So this lady earlier today was like rude as hell to me. And okay, so why does rude lady show up in my space? So there's something within me that needs to be worked on, because if I'm attracting a rude person that ain't listening, then something in me must be the same. Okay, there's something in me that needs to heal that is like that woman. Now, I don't know if it was the rudeness or if it was she was very offended by my question. You know, being questioned, you know, that's something, that's probably a likeness. You know, when I'm questioned, sometimes the first thing is the defensive head comes on. And then, you know, but like I be checking myself all the time, right? So I'd be like, okay, I think I'm being defensive right now. Okay, why am I being defensive? You know, like I'm questioning everything, you know what I mean? So why am I offended by what she just said? You know, so something in her is like something in me. So that's like karma. So create and destroy the roses. And the more you accept yourself for who you are, flaws and all, then the more you accept that next person, you know, and you're less apt to assassinate their character, you know, for showing up the way they showed up. Okay, because something within them is probably similar to something that's within you that you might want to check, because that person bothered you. So if that person bothered you, then you need to check something within yourself. So anyway, I choose to believe that when I accept all aspects of my being, I find great acceptance of others. Okay, you're able to accept people for who they are and where they are on their journey. You know what I mean? You know, I had a situation with a young lady and she's like in her mid-30s, you know what I mean? And when I was her age, I probably was just like her. She was like rude to me or whatever, you know what I mean? So so I'm sharing these two examples because these are things that I work on myself with as well. Okay. So, anyway, so when I look at it, you know, I'm almost 20 years older than her. You know what I mean? I've already been through that part of my journey of self-discovery of something that really needed to be worked on. So do I assassinate her character for being exactly who I was at that age? Maybe not exactly, but very similar. You know, do I assassinate her character, or do I just allow her to grow and be who she is and learn and grow on her journey as I do the same? You know what I mean? Sometimes we encounter things because of the greater things that are in store for us. You know, if you are to deal with, I know at one point I was coaching like thousands of people, you know, a lot of them in group settings, but you know, if I'm going to be responsible for coaching thousands of people, well, surely I could deal with one person that's a little upset. You know what I mean? So things could be happening for that reason, because you're being prepared for something else. So sometimes when something happens, sit back and ask yourself, first of all, release the like karma and just know that it probably is something that's a likeness. You're probably looking at some kind of a mirrored situation and figure out what that is. Even if you can't figure it out at the time, it's okay. Just release the like karma of the situation. You can inhale and exhale and blow the energy of this situation up into a rose. You know, I like working with roses. I was trained on roses. Okay. So all the energy from that situation earlier, blow it up in a rose. The rose can be as big as you want it to be. And then poof, blow that rose up. All that light karma that was existing between me and that lady earlier today, poof, 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 blow it up in a rose, okay? So I'm not holding on to that. And I can release whatever that likeness is unconsciously. I don't have to always know what the hell is up. You know what I mean? Release it unconsciously. Whatever it is, let's release that to its own vain nothingness. Let's heal whatever that is. So I can move forward. Okay. Whatever that is, whatever that came into my space, let's release that so that it can go away. Okay. Now, creating the possibility for even deeper connections. And that's the thing. I remember, and this is the last story I'm going to tell, I think. I remember remember in my workshops, I teach one of the things that I do in one of my retreats is I teach you how to heal your body through talking to it. So I go through this exercise and it's fun. But I remember when I learned the exercise and I wanted to be it. I was at a workshop and I wanted to be it, learning how to do this tool because I wanted to do it at my retreats. And so I was like, oh, I want to be the person that gets selected out of this group to be the example. And I knew it could only be one example. I was like, oh, it's going to be me. It's going to be me. And guess what? It was me. All right. So I got to be it. And I remember when I was talking to my body and trying to figure out, and I did something easy. I talked to my sinuses to figure out, why do I have these sinus issues? Because when I was a pom-pom in the 11th grade in high school, we used to make pom-poms out of tissue paper. It was like an amazing experience. All the pom-poms, like 30 something of us, we'd all get together. We'd have our strips for our reams of paper. We'd tape the middle and we all would just have fun making our big old pom-poms together. Big old pom-poms. Remember those back in the day? Now they use the plastic ones and So anyway, ours are made out of tissue paper. So these collected a lot of dust and we had practice pom-poms and then we had performance pom-poms. So the practice pom-poms were in these big old trash bags and we would work out on the gym floor or on the field outside. So they were collecting dust and their paper, so they're in and out of bags and stuff. So I developed a sinus problem and it just never went away. And so for years, so this is like, I was like 16, 15, and until I was in my late 30s, when I learned this exercise, I had sinus issues for which I took medication every day. Okay. And so when I got to talk to my sinuses, like, it was like weird as hell, man. I won't even get into the whole thing, but I'll tell you what they told me because I don't want to give away what happens at the retreats, but it's this part of the retreats that I do is so awesome. I love this because you get to find out stuff that's going on in your body by your body telling you. So my sinuses told me that I didn't let people in, and that I did not allow people to have deep connections with me. And that was so true. And I remember I cried. I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? I didn't understand why I was crying. But my sinuses, when they were talking, they were upset. And so I was like, so what do y'all want me to do? To get rid of these sinus issues. I just thought this was like so stupid, right? I'm thinking this is dumb. And so my sinuses are telling me, yeah, you keep people out here. Like you let people into right here. You don't let them in past here. They don't get to be up in here. And I was like, that's true. And I had a conversation with them and they told me to just work on it. And then we would talk about it again later. So they didn't tell me when the sinuses was going to go away. I thought it was going to be like, ooh, bam, sinuses cured. No more sinus issues. That's what I thought, right? No, that's not how that worked. And so they gave me homework to do. Like, what the hell? This is crazy stuff, right? So I said, all right, I'm going to do it. So I did what I heard to do. And do you know that very soon after that, my sinus issues went away? I had those sinus issues from the 11th grade. How old are you in 11th grade? Is it 15 or 16? I kid you not, I took medication every day. And after addressing the issue that I didn't even know was an issue, they went away. I was like, damn. So when this talked about creating deeper connections, that's so important. It's so easy for me to shut down on people, especially after being hurt. My instincts want to shut down because I don't want you to hurt me no more. That's why we keep you over here. Because if I let you in here, you can hurt me because I'll be vulnerable. And so I had to learn how to let people in. And that's something I still work on. I do. I honestly do. I still work on letting people in because, hell, people have hurt me. Purposefully, people have purposefully gone out to do something diabolical to me. And it's like, I don't understand that because I'm not diabolical. I don't go out trying to hurt somebody. I don't go out trying to hurt your feelings. I'm not going to initiate some drama with you. That's not my personality. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go out of my way to hurt anybody. I don't do that, And so when somebody is diabolical and really had a plan and went out of their way to hurt me, it's a little difficult. And I mean, I've been like to me, sometimes the higher up you go in life, the more diabolical people's plans are against you. I remember one time I felt like it was a coup. I said, well, damn, this is like a coup. A coup. And I used to tell people, y'all all think y'all want to walk in my shoes, but y'all don't know what these 8.5s feel like. Y'all don't know what it's like to walk in my shoes. So stop trying to walk in them. Because a lot of times people can make things look really good, really fun. You know what I mean? I made business look real fun, but people didn't get to see the other side of things. Like working with snakes that is a damn snake, being taken advantage of in different ways, just going through the different things, being a woman, working with all men and being treated like you're a woman, working with all men, having a man tell you, yeah, there's no P in business. What the hell are you talking about? Talking about offended. And I mean, and I remember throwing that back up in his face because I ain't never forget that. There's no P in business. And I remember one time something happened and I said, well, just remember there's no P in business, and it was very derogatory because the P stood. The P stood for something very derogatory on the female anatomy. And it was supposed to be there's no personal in business, but he was saying it in a different way, and telling me, trying to make me his secretary and stuff. I was like, dude, who are you? Get out of here, but it was now. I did do a jab because when the time was right, and it might have been years later, I did say, well, remember, there's no P in business. I did do that. Okay. So I might jab you, but it was warranted. Okay. So I said, being said, I might not come for you, but I might come for you if you came for me. I'm not going to come for you from nowhere. You know what I mean? You would have had to ask for it if I'm gonna come get you with my mouth. So anyway, that is the last story I'm telling today. All right, repeat after me. I choose to believe that when I accept all aspects of my being, I find greater acceptance of others, creating the possibilities for even deeper connections. Let's say that again. I choose to believe that when I accept all aspects of my being, I find greater acceptance of others, creating the possibilities for even deeper connections. So y'all, Look at yourself in the mirror. Work on yourself. Release shame and guilt. Work on you. That's what all of us need to do. Instead of trying to always fix somebody else, fix yourself. If you come across a situation and you feel like so-and-so need to work on that, figure out what you need to work on. Because it's not your job or your business to fix the next person. It's your job and your business to fix yourself. So look at yourself in the mirror, release the shame, and have a wonderful day. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Wait a minute. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Oh, peace.